Now listen, this episode is not about who's finer, because that's a conversation that will never end and nobody honestly will survive it. This is about legacy, impact, and about how Black love, masculinity, and desire were shaped on screen in the 1990s. This is poet versus provider, intellectual cool versus grown man stability. This is the battle of the 1990s fine, Larenz Tate versus Morris Chestnut. What's up? What's goody? And what's poppin'? And welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time being here, first of all,
hey, Professor Ogilvy!
Hello! My name is Top Cat. I am your YouTube personality, your reactionary goddess, and your cinema griot. And welcome to my channel. If this is your first time being here, thank you, because you could have been anywhere on Beyonce's good internet, but you are here with me, and I appreciate you for that. So if you could just do me a favor, if you ever like what you see upon your black screen, your black mirror, if you could just hit that subscribe button down there and join the fambalam, because baby, we are obviously friends now.
We're friends now.
Shout out to all of my new subscribers that have been joining the fambalam, because you guys are awesome! I've really been loving seeing the engagement online, the conversations that have been had. Baby, apparently some people were not happy with some of my matchups, but nonetheless, we gonna keep this bus a moving.
Well, is the bus still running?
It is Valentine's Day weekend, and I thought what better way to celebrate love than by highlighting two of the men that come to mind when we start thinking about the 1990s fun. Yes, we are talking about Larenz Tate and Morris Chestnut, which, when you start to think about like the movies that these two men have had over their careers, there's a similar pattern. I mean, they both have had their rom-coms, their hood classics. Even some of their TV shows have been pretty eerily similar. And ironically enough, when I asked my coworkers, because I always ask my coworkers before I start filming, this seemed to be the one that had them tripped up and really debating on whether or not there was a clear-cut winner. One was like, you really stumped me this time. So we're just gonna get right into it. Let's talk about their filmography. Now, let's clear something up. If this is not your first time rodeo here at CINEMAVERSUS, this might feel a little familiar to you. So the second ever episode here on CINEMAVERSUS, we kind of did a similar episode. We did Love Jones versus The Best Man. But nonetheless, both of these men were remembered through the lens of hood classics, but that's a lazy read on their careers. Larenz Tate's filmography is about range, not repetition. In Dead Presidents, he gave us a period piece rooted in a post-Vietnam trauma, psychological, political, and emotionally volatile. Then he pivots completely into Love Jones, a film that didn't just tell a love story. It redefined Black romance on screen. Poetry, intellect, artistry, and I have made the joke about how whenever a man wants to try to come off as romantic, he loves to wear a peacoat and a turtleneck, and I kind of wonder where he got that idea from. Darius Love. And then there's Why Do Fools Fall in Love, where he steps into the musical biopic territory, playing Frankie Lyman with vulnerability, ego, insecurity, and charm. Larenz Tate didn't escape typecasting. He outgrew it. He expanded what Black male leads were allowed to be. Larenz Tate is a risk taker. He's had roles that were grounded in trauma, history, and moral disillusionment. He's shifted completely while playing roles like O-Dog and Menace to Society, which has completely traumatized me, and I've only watched once. I have done a reaction to it on my channel if you do want to watch. And yes, I will never watch that movie ever again. And even now, if we were to step out of cinema and into television, his role on Power is one of the more memorable characters as he plays Councilman Tate. And then you have Morris Chestnut. Morris Chestnut's career tells a different story, one of consistency, leadership, and authority. We've met him in Boys in the Hood as he plays Ricky, the star child, the favorite child. In The Best Man and The Best Man Holiday, he isn't just a part of the ensemble, he's the emotional anchor. The movie moves around him. Then you have Under Siege 2, where he proves he can step into an action hero territory without losing credibility. And later, in The Perfect Guy, he plays the safe man, only to show how safety can still feel threatening when trust breaks down. He's been in Two Can Play That Game, The Brothers, Think Like a Man, Kick-Ass 2. Morris Chestnut doesn't just show up in movies, he stabilizes them. And again, he proves his longevity by carrying a medical drama for years in Rosewood. Chestnut is reliability, consistency, presence. Tate has grit, Chestnut has gloss. Let's move on to round 2. If I were to ask you, what is your favorite Morris Chestnut or Larenz Tate movie? Probably would say Dead Presidents or Boys in the Hood or Why Do Fools Fall in Love. But if I were to say name the most iconic, may I present to you a rematch of episode 2, Darius Lovehall and Lance Sullivan. Because I mean, yes, O-Dog was legendary, but Darius Lovehall, revolutionary. Darius made it cool for Black men to be sensitive without being soft, intellectual without being pretentious, romantic without being corny. He didn't just play a poet, he changed the aesthetic of a desire. Coffee shops, spoken word, intentional dating. Darius Lovehall shifted the culture. I mean, I had a girlfriend that literally was like, if a man Darius Lovehall me, I'd stalk him for the rest of his life. In Love Jones, he didn't just play a character, he created a vibe. He made poetry cool, he made intellectual sexy, and vulnerability desirable. Was he perfect? No, because he needed to stop playing games with Nina. But nonetheless, Darius Lovehall shifted the aesthetic of Black romance. And Lance Sullivan, I mean, Lance was just the idealized Black man until he wasn't. He was athletic, successful, faith-driven, and respected. But baby, when betrayal entered the picture, the armor cracked. Lance isn't undone by weakness. He was undone by expectation. The complexities cemented Morris Chestnut as the industry's premier leading man for both romance and drama. I mean, let's not forget the scene where he reads the novel and he realizes that Mia, I don't need to say more. Ooh, the rage that was coming off of that screen. In The Best Man, Lance is the anchor, the hyper-masculine star athlete, the man that everyone respects and somewhat little bit feared. But when his world shatters, Morris gives a performance about pride, betrayal, and collapse. And many years later, it still hits. When Mia dies and his world shatters again, it's believable. So, although we might think of O-Dog, we might think of Ricky, it might still be Lance and Darius. But if you disagree with me, you could definitely let me know in the comments down below. Round 3, the archetypes. Let's talk about the archetypes that these men represent in Hollywood. If we were to stay on this same spiritual trajectory, then I have to say that Larenz Tate would be the hanged man. Larenz's power is all about perspective. The hanged man isn't passive. He's observant. He waits, he watches, he listens. And Lorenz's characters win through wit, language, and psychological agility. Even when he plays chaos, it's intentional chaos. He talks his way through world. In Dead Presidents, he's a soldier caught between a war and a country that won't let him live. In Love Jones, he's an artist suspended between lust and love. Larenz specializes in characters who are waiting and watching, seeing the world from a different angle. Now, Morris Chestnut would be the emperor. And the emperor is all about authority, full stop. The emperor is about structure and responsibility. Even as a romantic interest, he carries the energy of a man building something bigger than himself. He feels like the husband, the leader, the future. When Morris Chestnut falls in a story, it's never quiet. Everything falls with him. He's the patriarch, the leader, the man people look to when things fall apart. And even as a love interest, he carries responsibility. Think about it. When Ricky dies in Boys in the Hood, even though I wasn't moved by it personally, you can watch my reaction in my reaction video. Culturally, people felt that. People was like, he's supposed to be the one to make it out the hood. And people were heartbroken. People felt when Lance felt betrayed. Like, he's full on father figure status. Round 4, the cultural impact. How do these two men shape the culture in and outside of the movie screen? Larenz Tate represents the alternative Black man. He proved you can be from the culture without being a stereotype. He influenced the neo-soul era, artistic dating culture, how Black men express emotional depth. Larenz Tate gave Black men permission to be interesting. I mean, who else can play a soldier, a poet, Frankie Lyman's character alone played 3 different types of Black men, all in one career. Before him, you were either a gangster or a goofball. But Larenz brought bohemian cool, artistic depth, neo-soul masculinity, and he gave Black men permission to be interesting. Larenz Tate also co-founded the Tate Brothers Foundation to raise awareness for sickle cell anemia, which is a condition that disproportionately affects the Black community. So not only does Larenz Tate have an effect on the culture on the screen, but he also has a philanthropic work outside of the screen as well. Morris Chestnut defined the modern Black heartthrob, dark-skinned. Have you seen the skin on that man? Beautiful, flawless, not an imperfection in sight, with immaculate smiles. The teeth on that man, beautiful, beautiful. Dark-skinned, athletic, classically handsome, and most importantly, consistent. Over 3 decades, he maintained crush status. And I'm talking about from our mamas, our aunties, our sisters. The Chestnut brand is universal. He didn't just chase trends, he's outlasted them. From television and movies, this man has been in our screens and in our hearts for years. He is a multi-time NAACP Image Award winner, and he has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Neither one of these men have an Academy Award nomination, a Golden Globe nomination, or a traditional Hollywood nomination. But their legacies are not defined by traditional Hollywood standard trophies, but they have impacted our lives on how we have dated, what we desire, what masculinity can look like on screen. And that kind of influence doesn't need to be on a shelf. Now, when it comes to round 5, this is the core fear versus the core desire, my absolute favorite round. And you probably gonna get sick of me saying that, but I can't help it. This is absolutely my favorite round based off of their filmography and everything that they have been in. It's time to get psychological. Now, when you get to the heart of it, this is about what moves them, what haunts them, what their characters are always chasing, and what they're terrified of losing. For Larenz Tate, his core desire is autonomy. His characters want control, not over people, but over their own story. He wants to move through the wild on his own terms, to be the smartest person in the room, the one who sees the angles, the one who can talk, think, and strategize his way out of any box. I mean, look at his roles. In Dead Presidents, he's a man who fought for his country that refuses to make space for him. In Love Jones, he's a poet who wants love without losing himself to it. And Why Do Fools Fall in Love? He plays a man trying to control how he's seen, how he's loved, how he'll be remembered. Larenz Tate's characters are always negotiating between freedom and attachment. And that leads us to his core fear. His characters fear being ordinary, being forgotten, being reduced to a footnote, being just another face lost in the crowd. Even when he plays men who self-destruct, they would rather burn brightly than fade quietly. His characters would risk everything before accepting a life that feels small. Morris Chestnut, his characters have a desire of respect, honor, recognition, legacy. His characters want to be seen as men who did things the right way, men who showed up, men who built something lasting, men who earned their place. I mean, look at his roles. In The Best Man, Lance Sullivan isn't just respectful, he's revered. In The Brothers, on paper, he is perfect. He is the perfect definition of what a black man should be. Just don't piss him off. In The Brothers, he represented the man everyone measures themselves against. In his television works, he's often plays doctors, leaders, professionals, men society depends on. Morris Chestnut characters wants to stand as proof that discipline, structure, and sacrifice matter. He's played multiple detectives. Kick-Ass 2, Identity Theft. But all of that desire comes with a shadow. Morris Chestnut's core fear is failure. And not like quiet failure neither. I mean like public failure. Big gold front page TMZ failure. The kind that shatters your reputation. The kind that makes people question.
Wait a minute. Who are you?
And I mean like worse than failure, betrayal.
Deception and outrage, disgrace, for shame.
Betrayal by friends, by love, betrayal by his own moral code. When Morris Chestnut characters fall, it isn't because they lack strength. It's because the world no longer rewards the rules they live by. And when the collapse happens, it's devastating. Larenz characters are afraid of disappearing, whereas Morris Chestnut characters are afraid of disgrace. One fears insignificance. The other fears loss of status. One chases freedom. The other chases structure. Do you want the man that makes you feel alive or the man that makes you feel safe? Do you choose passion or do you choose protection? Who do you become when you choose one over the other? That is it for today's episode of CINEMAVERSUS. And now I turn this over to you. You get to tell me in the comments and the official poll who won in today's episode. Drop your comments down below and let me know. This has been CINEMAVERSUS, the 90s Fine Edition. And as per usual, protect Black art and stream Black stories. And I will see you on the next one. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. If you've made it this far, definitely let me know in the comments down below. If you have any suggestions on another episode, let me know, because I have some ideas in mind, but I always love that this is supposed to be a community thing. So definitely let me know some suggestions in the comments. I love the community that is being built here. Again, shout out to all of my new subscribers. I see you. If you have not joined the Fambalam, definitely hit that subscribe button because, baby, if you made it this far into the video and you have not joined the Fambalam, go ahead and hit that subscribe button because, baby, we're no longer just friends.
We are a family, like a giant tree.
love you. And if nobody has told you this, you matter. And I don't just love you because you're watching my videos, but because like you're important and your energy and your light is super necessary. So if nobody has told you this, I need you to keep shining and to make it through another day. And until I see you next time, bye.